Good day, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Government and Public Service Reports on your favorite Atlantic Television Network. We bring you the news, events, and stories abounding in the state system. ATN's appetite for in-depth, unbiased, and factual reportage is for this program in order to bring you activities to the doorstep of the people. We'll go through the highlights of today's reports and the headlines. NLC threatens strike over PMS hike. Transport fares soar in Kaduna. NLC says betray workers and face consequences. Federal government declares emergency in Onne ports. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll go straight into the details. Stay with us. Welcome back, and now we dive into the details of today's stories. Known as Premium Motor Spirit from 568 naira to 155 naira at its outlets. Some Lagos residents who spoke to NAN on Wednesday described the current fuel situation in Nigeria as biting, saying that it had affected transport. A businesswoman, Ms. Beatrice Okonkwo, who said that the increase had become frustrating to low-income earners, said, "Today, I stepped out to get to my child's school and I noticed an increase in transport fare from gate to Sele bus stop, which used to be 200, is now 300, and from Ijesha to Yaba, which was 200 by tricycle, is now 400. Drivers are even saying they would further increase the fares to be able to recoup money that they are spending on fuel," she said. She appealed to the federal government to do more to alleviate the sufferings of the citizens. A civil servant who wants to be identified simply as Modinot urged the government to address the fuel situation urgently. According to him, transport fares from Ibaja to through Oshodi increased from 1,000 to 1,700 on Wednesday. Modinot regretted that workers were facing the increase, although they had yet to be paid the new minimum wage. Commercial motorcyclists and tricyclists also increased their charges. She said the commuters had always suffered from an increase in petrol price. "We are not finding it funny at all. Before, in my area, Festac Town, I paid 200 naira to the next junction, but today it costs 300. As transport fares goes up, so will food prices in the market. The ordinary person cannot eat again. The government should really address the situation fast," she said. In a different story, Ibadan's Zonal Director of Economic and Financial Commission has secured the conviction and sentence of 39 internet fraudsters from Justices O.S. Adeyemi, Bayo Taiwo, and Ladira Akintola, all of the Oyo State High Court sitting in Ibadan. They are prosecuted on the separate one-account charge each, bordering on impersonation, cheating, possession of fraudulent documents, and obtaining by false pretense. The convicts are Fasaya Abdul Kudus Bolaha, Nkiri Oluchuku Destiny, Fakoya Toby Samuel, Owolabi Kudus Damilare, Ishaka Olajide Adebayo, Olawoyin Wasiu, Olasukami, Olawale Owolabi Abidin, Olawale Tunde Wahid, Kehinde Pelumi Abdurrauf, Okunlola Taoreed Abiodun, Okunlola Dolapo Mujib, Ademesho Raphael Olamide, Lawal Olajuwon Ridwan, Femi Dogo Olaremi, and Humowo Jeremiah Damilola, Isaac Joseph Justice, and others. They all pleaded guilty to the charges when they were read to them, following which prosecution counsels reviewed of the cases, tendered incriminating documents, and prayed the courts to convict and sentence them accordingly. Justice Adeyemi convicted and sentenced Austin Ayomide to 1 year of community service, or to pay a fine of 200,000 naira. Tunde got a 1-month jail term, or to pay a fine of 250,000 naira, while Abib Ayomide Adeleke, Babatunde, Biodun, Oyindamola, Oluwatobi, Olatunboshon, Uche, Akinyiminka, Adisa, Olashile, and Adeniran bagged 6 months community service each, and to pay 50,000 naira each, in addition to their sentence. Besides Abib Ayomide, who was slammed with 500,000 naira in addition to his sentence, the convicts forfeited all items recovered from them to the federal government. All the convicts began their journey to prison when they were arrested in a sting operation for fraudulent internet activities. Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has approved the constitution of a committee to discuss modalities for implementing the new national minimum wage. A statement released by the secretary to the Borno State government on Wednesday indicated that the committee would be chaired by the Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Engineer Babagana Mustafa Malumbe, while the head of service, Barrister Malam Fanani, would be co-chair. According to the statement, part of the committee's duties include to analyze the current consequential salary adjustment at the federal level and determine the extent to which it can be applied in totality or partially in the state. Also, to use the consequential adjustment at the federal level as a guide to arrive at a reasonable and sustainable salary adjustment based on the specific peculiarities of the state and any other irrelevant matter to arriving at a reasonable and realistic salary for civil servants. Babagana Zulum, while congratulating the members on the opportunity to serve in the state, directed them to start work immediately. With this development, Borno became the latest state in the federation to make such a bold move towards implementing the new national minimum wage. ATN recalls that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had recently signed the new Minimum Wage Act into law after agreeing to a 70,000 naira with the organized labor unions. Moving on, federal government introduced the scheme to remove structural market and policy barriers and accelerate access to consumer credits by Nigerians. It is a major campaign promised by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu designed to give Nigerians access to credits to purchase household and other items of need without paying direct cash. The target of the initiative is to have 50% of the working populace on the scheme net by 2030. It was learned that the first set of 500,000 beneficiaries would be civil servants. According to Wagba, the funding has been received and the disbursement process is set to begin immediately. The bottom line is that this program is about to start and it will happen this week or latest on Monday next week. Wagba further stated that the scheme's implementation will be carried out through participating financial institutions which will manage the credit distribution rather than Credit Corps directly engaging with individual customers. Quoting him, he said, "The first phase of this initiative will see 15,000 civil servants being credited in each round, continuing until the target of 500,000 civil servants is reached. After this initial phase, the scheme is to be extended After this initial phase, the scheme will be extended to include other eligible members of the public, broadening its impact on Nigeria's economy." In a statement, the Credit Corps announced in Abuja that the disbursement of the consumer credit to economically active Nigerians had officially commenced through its network of PFIs. Among the first wave of institutions involved in Credit Direct, Nigeria's largest lender to civil servants and its subsidiary of the First City Monument Bank FCMB Group. This partnership aims to accelerate access to consumer credit, particularly for civil servants nationwide. Starting in early September, civil servants in the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System (IPPIS) will benefit from exclusive offers, including reduced interest rates and flexible repayment plans. Mwagba expressed enthusiasm about the launch, noting partnership. Civil servants could access instant and affordable credit, which will help them manage economic challenges and improve the quality of their life. The scheme's design, which mirrors the model used by the Development Bank of Nigeria (DBN), involves providing wholesale capital or credit guarantees to PFIs, ensuring a structured and efficient rollout of the program. The key feature of the credit offers includes some of the lowest interest rates in the market beginning from Tuesday. Civil servants will have the opportunity to access loans of up to 3.5 million naira depending on their income and their needs. Additionally, the scheme offers flexible repayment plans tailored to the unique circumstances of each borrower, alongside a quick and easy application process to facilitate fast. Through its official spokesperson, Ben Sinupa, who spoke on Wednesday, September 4th, in an interview on news outlets, asked about the threat of a potential strike and the effectiveness of the purported planned action. Opa replied, "Well, we have not said we are going on strike. We said the appropriate organs of the Congress will meet to take appropriate decisions, and those decisions will be made public. So strike is an option. Our strike is the least harmful, as effective as a strike." Federal government and the financing of terrorism. A joint statement by the two countries on establishing, which was the head of the memoranda, establishing a comprehensive strategic partnership and building a high-level China and Nigeria and create the two sides being Nigeria and China further support the establishment of more friendly relations between both countries, provinces and states and municipalities, with a view to expand and deepen cooperation at the sub-national level. The two sides are committed to stepping up protection of lawful rights and interests of each other's citizens on their territories and create a favorable business environment for each other's companies. Both sides agreed to support the increased calls for UN Security Council reforms and balanced geographic representation to reflect current geopolitical realities. Do not forget that we are open for advert placements, bookings and commercials. You can reach us and connect with us on our socials: Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network; Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1; X, formerly known as Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Inspector General of the Police, Kayode Egbetukun, has directed organizations utilizing supernumerary police (SPY) personnel to heed to the new standardized uniforms of the officers. Egbetukun gave the orders in Abuja at the inauguration of the new standard supernumerary police uniforms. He said the Nigerian police force was actively taking measures to prevent the unauthorized production and distribution of police uniforms, including the spy uniform. Represented by the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of Administration and Finance, Mr. Bala Siroma, the IGP said the approved standardized SPY police uniforms and kits was a significant milestone and a crucial step to enhancing professionalism and visibility of the officers. He said Section 21, Subsection 7 of the Nigerian Police Act 2020 as amended formally establishes the supernumerary police as an integral unit within the Nigerian police force. According to him, attempts to create and enhance its identity had been significantly impeded by a lack of standardized and distinctive uniform, which had persisted as a major obstacle. In a different vein, following the recent hike in price of petrol, transportation fares within Kaduna metropolis have gone up astronomically, a situation the residents lamented has made commuting too difficult. The NNPC Limited Retail Management approved the upward review of PMS pump price from 617 per litre to 897 naira per litre, effective from September the 3rd. A check conducted by NEN on Wednesday in Kaduna revealed that the cost of transportation for a commercial tricycle, which is a keke napep, from the central market of Sabo was now 500 naira against 300 naira previously. From the same market of Barnawa and Nariyi settlements, now attracts 400 against 250 naira. Other places include Gonin to Gora, Kasuwu 500 against 300, Kukuri to Kusawa 400 against 300, Kusawa to Kawu in Kaduna now attracts 300 from just 200. Some of the residents who spoke to NEN in separate interviews further decried that the same developments apply to commercial motorcycles operators who now charge double for a drop within the neighborhood. Abubakar Saidu, a commercial tricycle operator, said the current fares were likely to be increased in the coming days. He said it would be difficult to join the queues at the NNPC stations. Quoting him, he said, "This is because it could take one almost half a day before getting fuel. As such, we now buy from the black market for a whopping sum of 1,400 naira per litre. The passengers do not blame us because everyone knows that the situation we have found ourselves in this Nigeria. We hardly make meaningful turnovers as commuting has drastically dropped because people don't go out anywhere except when it becomes absolutely necessary." Mr. Danjo, a cycle operator, on his part, said the hike became inevitable if they must make ends meet considering the high cost of petrol. Quoting him, "Most times lately, I prefer to be stationed at the strategic junctions and not to be roaming around like I used to before scouting for passengers," Musa said. Ms. Abigail Adams, a resident of Barnawa, lamented how the cost of transportation was affecting her resumption of work. "With the meager salary I earn, I now spend at least 1,200 naira daily to and from work. I wonder how one can sustain having to spend this much on transportation. I urge the government to consider the plight of the citizenry by reverting the pump price and also fast-tracking the payment of the new national minimum wage," she said. Another resident, Haruna Dauda, a resident of Ungwan Romi, has expressed worry on how most of the parents would cope from the wards when school resumes in the coming week. "This situation is so pathetic and may get worse when children resume school. Imagine the parents that have 3 to 4 children that have to go to school every day, not to mention the costs like feeding and school fees," Dauda said. Federal government's announcement to raise the university admission age limit from 16 to 18 have sparked intense debate amongst educators, parents, students, and other stakeholders in the country. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahiru Maman, who made the announcement, said this change is in line with the 6334 education system, which provides for 6 years of primary school, 3 years of junior secondary school, 3 years of senior secondary school, and 4 years of tertiary education. It was revealed that one of the advantages of raising the admission age limit to 18 is that it allows students to mature mentally and emotionally before entering the university. This new policy seems to align with what obtains in parts of Europe and North America. In the United Kingdom, for example, primary education starts at age 5 and continues until age 11, followed by secondary education from ages 11 to 16. Students then have the option to continue their education for an additional 2 years from ages 16 to 18 in preparation for the university. Our Abuja correspondent, Joseph Moses Mawuyinka, completes the story with a street broadcast.
Hello and welcome to Atlantic Television Network Street Broadcast. I am Joseph Moses. This is what we do in the street of Abuja, discussing issues that bother Nigerians. Last week, the Minister of Education, Professor Tairu Mama, said, going forward, Nigerian students or children will have to get to 18 years of age before processing for admission to university, so that they will enter university with matured mind and thereby helping them to be there as an adult, knowing what is right and knowing what is wrong. But this has raised an alarm within the parents of Nigeria children, civil society, activists, and so many others, analyzing issues that has to do with education. Will this actually help the children after graduating from their secondary school? What would they be doing? Won't they be at risk of getting spoiled at home in society before they get exposed to knowledge? This and so many other questions we will be asking Nigerians in the street to get their take.
And the reason why I said the idea is good, because the children now go to university early. They go to university at the age of 13, at the age of 14. Before you know, that is why we have a bad society now, because they did not reach that adult stage and they feel that they go to university, they are adult. So that's why we see our children going around half naked. So for that one, when Baba Tinubu they talk, me I did with them for that one, we talk. The children, they should have patience. They should have patience with the government until they reach that age, because it's good for them.
Yes, that is the original plan of Nigerian education. Because the program is 6 years in primary school, 6 years at that time is 5 years in our own period, 5 years in secondary school, then 4 years in university, or 6 years. So before you out of secondary school, you must be 18. If your education is fast, it must be 17. But now we have 14, 15 out of secondary school, and they want to go to university. They don't have the matured mind to go there, and that is why if they went to university at the early stage, the peer group influence can be on them. I get them. But 18 years old is matured enough to know what is good for him. Nobody can convince him to do things that is wrong. But 14, 15, they can still influence them. I think it's very, and it will reduce the educational tensions.
Children going to writing jam from 18 years, I totally disagree with that. In a nation whereby we still permit child marriage, but we don't permit child education, it's out of place. And also number two is anti-people's, anti-masses project, because their kids, those ones propagating the laws, their kids are 15, 16, are already abroad schooling, coming back to grab all the jobs that is meant for the masses. Most of the job will say less than 20, less than 25 years, and you must have some experience. If you enter school at, let's say 19, 20 and finish at 20, 25, 30, 25, when are you going to get experience? It's just a way to further impoverish the poor and also deal with them, which is a tool the leaders have been using against the masses, and they keep bringing this tool one after the other. I urge every right-thinking person to speak against it. That is all I can say about this case.
I totally disagree with what Honorable Minister said. With due respect, he mentioned this from his own perspective of understanding. From psychological point of view, we have different talents that Almighty bless us with. And now, when we talk of somebody to restrict somebody from the opportunity and the talent which Almighty provided to him, is totally unacceptable. It's something that will bring our country back. When you go to European, or let me mention the wise country now. When you go to some other countries like Europe, you will see those that finish school. You will see somebody at the age of 25. It's a PhD holder. Why is it in Nigeria we cannot think of progressing to reach some way? In the next 21st century, we are thinking of reaching where they have reached for the past 50 years. So, on that aspect, and when we go to part of religion, being a Muslim, I will never go with this decision, because whenever somebody is bringing something that is going to tarnish the image of my religion, I will not tolerate it. I will not follow it. When we go to issue of religion, female children, because they are now growing because of the kind of fertilizer we are using. You will see someone is 13 years, but when you look at her, she's big, she's matured, she's equivalent to someone of 35 years of yesterday. So when we decided to deny them from this opportunity, we are coming back. We are drawing our country back instead of moving forward. So on my own part, forward ever, backward never.
But I'm not in support of what the Honorable Minister says concerning the age bracket of children. One, if you say that you should a child must enter into university before he's 18 years, you understand? And you now stop the child. Whether you stop the child or you didn't stop the child is learning. Whether you say he should not enter, he must enter to 18, and the child maybe finish secondary school at the age of 16 years, and you say the child will not enter until he's 18. As you stop him or her, the child is learning. He's learning either bad or good. My own is, let the Honorable Minister look into the school education and know how to fix this issue of ASU strike, other things, developing the university curriculum. You understand? Making it so that we can be measuring with other developed country. This thing is, we don't need something like this now. That is me.
Thank you for being with us. I still remain Joseph Moses. You have had some discussions with Nigerians in the streets. We hope that this could help the Ministry of Education to adjust. If it is necessary for the children to get to 18, so be it. If it is not, then it means there is need for adjustment, that Nigeria education will get better. I am Joseph Moses, reporting for Atlantic Television Network.
Welcome back. You're watching Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this short break. Stay with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business.
Welcome back to Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Experts have blamed the non-functional and outlaid national infrastructures on inadequate maintenance on the part of the government. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Atlantic Blowout, a development expert, Loveday Dandy, decried against capital infrastructure management.
You're prosecuting some persons for going beyond that. How about government not even coming out to address the issue? So who is prosecuting the government? So whatever it is, if anybody, the truth is that if anybody goes against the law, such person will face the law. So in the cause of protest, if you feel you go against the law, you become a victim. But if Nance is appealing that such person should be released, such prosecution should be hot, probably because of the economic hardship.
Meanwhile, Mr. Dandy taxed the federal government on the capitalization of the nation's economy. The National Petroleum Company Limited has set stringent financial requirements for companies vying to operate and maintain the Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company and Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company. In their expression, interest of document released by the NNPC, firms with a minimum average annual turnover of $2 billion will qualify for the bidding process, as the national oil company stressed that the bidders must be debt-free. Last month, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed into law the 70,000 Naira National Minimum Wage Act. Though some states have begun discussion of the consequential adjustments arising from the new wage ahead of its implementation, most states, even the federal government, are yet to begin implementation, as the consequential adjustment has to be agreed on. To agree on the consequential adjustment and implementation of the new minimum wage is another phase of the long and even protracted battle for workers, especially at the state and local government levels. To prepare its state councils for task ahead, the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has begun the training of its state council leaders to prepare them for the effective strategies for a successful process and help them to learn from the past mistakes and map strategies to effectively deliver the benefits of the new wage to workers. Welcoming participants at the two-day workshop of the northern zone of the country, President of the NLC, Joe Ajero, warned state council leaders against betraying workers for personal gains, warning of severe consequences for leaders who compromise their position for selfish interests. He said, quoting him, "The choice of the theme for this workshop, which is Strategies for Effective Implementation of the 2024 National Minimum Wage Act, is therefore intended to help prepare us to evolve effective strategies to successful processes during the cycle. It is intended to help us learn from our past mistakes and map strategies to effectively deliver the benefits of the law to our members. As we have pointed out earlier, it is only when our members begin to enjoy its benefits that we can beat our chest and exclaim, 'We have done it.'" Remember, comrades, production, they say, is in economics and not complete until it reaches the final consumer. So this national minimum wage exercise cannot be said to be complete until it reaches all of our members, wherever they may be working. Your comrades are the vessels that would be used in delivering this. The extent to which you can deliver the expected benefits is dependent on your capacity and your character, your focus and determination, including your resilience, how you can communicate the process of our members to your respective states is very important. The situation to you presents both challenges and opportunities to you. However, the overall outcome is going to be dependent on the choices you will make. What those choices will be largely be determined by what your interests are, either to be a responsible and responsible leader or to lead for yourselves and cronies. You must, however, remember that any of your choices you make will have consequences. Federal government has declared a state of emergency on the Onne port of Rivers State. Following State Day, I joined numerous stakeholders to take a significant step towards the cause of trade facilitation through the inauguration of upgraded facilities provided by the West African Container Terminal, Onne. As I expressed delight that trading facilitation is getting traction in Onne Airport, I cannot help but call your attention to the grave concern. This has to do with the repeated incidents of national security breaches unfolding in Onne Port. I appreciate your presence as we all have a shared responsibility in safeguarding our national security. As we are all aware, the policy thrust of Mr. President supports the re-energizing of our business environment to drive faster import clearance and grow our capacity for exports. Our emphasis has been to promote initiatives that speak to trade facilitation and economic development. It is a matter of regret that criminal elements in the international supply chain are exploiting our pro-trade stance to commit atrocities bordering on national security breaches. Continuing, he said, the attempts to test our will through the importation of dangerous cargo through this port has necessitated the declaration of a state of emergency in Onne Port, coming on the heels of a seizure of a huge cache of arms a couple of months ago. This is disheartening that perpetrators have not backed down on their illegal acts. Recent intelligence and seizures have revealed a disturbing trend. Onne Port is increasingly being used as a destination for dangerous and illicit cargo. The scale and nature of these illicit importations pose a significant threat to our national security and the health of our citizens. Today, we are here to showcase yet another series of significant seizures made by the diligent officers of the Area 2 Command. On display are 12 containers of illicit goods intercepted through a combination of intelligence gathering, interagency collaboration, and meticulous physical examination. The seizures on display are a 1 × 40 feet container containing 4,800 pairs of military and paramilitary camouflage rain boots and 6,320 pairs of various rubber footwear with a duty paid value of 923 million naira. The second on display is a 3 × 40 feet container containing 562,600 bottles of 100 milligram cough syrup with codeine and 3,150 pieces of chili cutters with a DPV of 4 billion naira. Adeni further stated that 3 × 40 containers containing 380,000 bottles of 100 ml cough syrup with codeine, 24,480,000 tablets of Royal Tramadol hydrochloride, 5,350,000 tablets of tapentadol and cariscoprodol and other items with a DPV of 17 billion naira were seized, and on other seized items, he said, 5 × 40 feet containers containing 892,400 bottles of 100 ml cough syrup with codeine, 1,300,000 tablets of 50 milligram really extra diclofenac, 7,250,000 tablets of 5 milligram trodol benzosol and other items with a DPV of 8,128,568,295,000.90 naira. These interceptions bring the total duty paid value of the 12 seized containers to a staggering sum of 31 trillion. This operation is not only a testament to the Area 2's command vigilance, but also to the effectiveness of our intelligence networks and the critical partnerships we maintain with other security agencies. Concluding, he said, I want to emphasize that this is not just a customs issue. It is a national security concern that affects every Nigerian. We are therefore calling on all patriotic citizens to assist us in this endeavor that is crucial. We need your help in improving and providing intelligence regarding those behind this nefarious act and their intentions. While noting that information is key in preventing what he termed a potential catastrophe, the customs boss said, therefore, effective immediately, we are implementing emergency protocols at Onne Port. For the next 3 months, we will be conducting thorough examinations of all suspected containers. If the owners do not come forward for examination, we will open those containers to verify their contents. This is a temporary but necessary measure to clean up the ports and restore its integrity. I want to assure the business community and legitimate importers that this measure is not aimed at disrupting lawful trade. Our goal is to create a safer, more secure environment for genuine business activities to thrive. We will work to ensure that lawful shipments are processed as quickly and efficiently as possible during this period. To those that may be tempted to continue these illegal activities, let me be clear. The Nigerian Customs Service, in collaboration with other security agencies, will bring the full weight of the law upon anyone found complicit in these crimes against our nation. He commended officers and men of the On-Air Command for their dedication to duty and service of humanity, saying these seizures were made in strict compliance with the customs law, particularly concerning concealment, false declaration, and importation of prohibited items. He added, the illegal pharmaceuticals, including cough syrup and tramadol, will be handed over to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in accordance with our Memorandum of Understanding, while the other items will be dealt with as per the legal frameworks governing our activities. As we move forward, I want to reiterate our commitment to continuing this momentum. The Nigeria Customs Service, under my leadership, will leave no stone unturned in our mission to protect the health and safety of Nigerians. We will strengthen our intelligence networks, enhance our interagency cooperations and collaborations, and ensure that those who seek to harm our nation face the full weight of the law. He assured Nigerians that the NCS would continue to be a formidable force in the fight against smuggling and the illegal importation of harmful goods, saying, we will remain steadfast in our duties to ensure that our nation remains a safe place for all to thrive. Remember that the total seizure from the NCS is 31 trillion naira. Northern States Governors Forum has condemned the attack in Mafa, Tarmua local government area of Yobe State, which resulted in 34 deaths. The chairman of the forum and the governor of Gombe State, Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya, expressed outrage over the attack, calling it a senseless act of violence and has inflicted immense grief on the affected families and communities. In a statement released by his spokesperson Ismaila Uba Misili, Governor Yahaya commended the security forces for their ongoing efforts against remnants of the terrorist groups. However, he further stressed the need for concerted efforts in tracking and apprehending those responsible for the atrocity, as well as those operating across the region, saying, these brutal acts must not go unpunished. I urge all security agencies to intensify their efforts to ensure that the perpetrators are swiftly brought to justice, Governor Yahaya stated. Analysts have decried against the prosecution of citizens who were allegedly involved in anti-peaceful protests in the recent nationwide protests. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Atlantic Blowout, a development expert, Loveday Dandy, maintained that it is needless prosecuting citizens demanding for their rights of a better livelihood amidst the looming hardship.
And you're prosecuting some persons for going beyond that. How about government not even coming out to address the issue? So who is prosecuting the government? So whatever it is, if anybody, the truth is that if anybody goes against the law, such person will face the law. So in the cause of protest, if you feel you go against the law, you become a victim. But if Nance is appealing that such person should be released, such prosecution should be hot, probably because of the economic hardship.
Meanwhile, Alfred El Nino expressed uncertainty as it concerns the government's proactivity in addressing the biting inflation for the betterment of its citizenry.
The government does not have a blueprint for the common man. And that is what has brought us to where we are today. Now, talking about these protests now, what were the earnings of the people? This is geared towards bad governance. And the people are simply just tired of the way things